Matty Boyd is in the circle for the Scarlet Knights. Started the middle game and actually came in to get the final couple outs earlier today, as we are back underway right on time at 1 o'clock on what is a nice day, a little breezy. The wind is right now pushing out to straightaway center field, but 44, nary a cloud in the sky. Good day to be outside, and a nice turnout here in Piscataway too. Caitlin Farley leads it off for the Buckeyes, and it's a ball and a strike. Take a look at the Ohio State starting 9. Buckeyes now 17-9 overall, 1-1 in Big Ten play. After Farley, who's playing at second base, it's Taylor Heckman in right field. Jasmine Burns, the DP in this game, and then Destiny Norrie, the first baseman, batting cleanup. Cami Quartercracks, the shortstop, bats 5th, followed by Mackenzie Bump, who's playing at 3rd. Hannah Church catches and bats 7th. Kirsten Epley plays in center, bats 8th, and Taylor Cruz, the left fielder, rounds out the order. More starts for Cruz this weekend than in her entire career before today. Just a freshman.
I love that. Good for her.
She's been a nice contributor, too. Look out for that one. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That's a nice 1-2 pitch. You're ahead in the count. Try to get that hitter to chase. Matty Boyd kind of picking up where she left off at the end of game 2.
And the tall right-hander deals and went upstairs once again. Now, the numbers this season for Boyd are quite sharp. A 10-6 record, a 2.63 ERA. Looking like she's going to pass 100 innings on the season in this game. At just over 98. And she got ahead on Farley, but Ohio State, after really struggling at the plate in game 1, but much better approach in game 2 and 3.
It's their discipline. I mean, when they showed up today, they have just been waiting for their perfect pitch. If it's not theirs, they're taking it, and they're really forcing these Rutgers pitchers to throw it right down the middle.
You see how Rutgers lines up for this finale. Morgan Smith in center field. Ended up taking the loss in that middle game after getting the win in the opener. Jill Anderson with that catch in left field. And you're going to see tonight, as the bunt dropped down by Taylor Heckman, the sacrifice works out nicely. Ohio State trying to grab a lead right from the jump.
Taylor Heckman was so good in that last game for Ohio State. She reached base every single time. She was 3 for 3 with 2 walks, so just doing a really good job in that 2-hole. And, you know, that's a big component of hitting in that 2 slot, is being able to lay that bunt down. And Taylor Heckman just doing her job of moving the runner for Ohio State.
That brings up Jasmine Burns, who takes strike 1.
Jasmine Burns is another Ohio State hitter that I was very impressed with in that 10-inning matchup. She just had some really good at-bats. She walked in her last one in that second game, so I want to see her continue to see the ball as she has been this weekend.
1-1.
On the flip side, if you're Rutgers, I just want to see them go after these Ohio State hitters. That's what made them so effective in game 1 and the beginning of game 2. They were getting ahead on batters, and they're just forcing Ohio State to put the ball in play.
Burns has reached twice in each game so far, and now jumps ahead in the count. This is an Ohio State team that entered this weekend having had a full week off after a busy swing through spring break, culminating with a split 2-game series at then top 25 Kentucky. Big rip and a miss. That one had some late life on it.
That Kentucky win was very big for them, and you know, you always wonder how a team's going to respond after a period of rest. Sometimes it's very refreshing and they come back playing even better than they did before the break, and sometimes it just takes a little bit to get going, and it seems like it might have been the latter for Ohio State. They lost that first game, but now kind of getting back into that offensive rhythm that they've had all season.
Boyd's pitch is cut on and missed, strike 3. Matty Boyd has been ringing up strikeouts at a prolific pace this year. That is number 83. And she gets a big second out.
How about the response from Matty Boyd, too? The leadoff hitter gets on, they get the sacrifice bunt. She puts that ball right on the nice part of the inside part of the plate, doing a really good job getting second out for her team.
And now she'll try to navigate around Destiny Nori, cleanup hitter, who has made her presence felt this weekend for sure. 2 singles in the first game, and then the biggest swing in the middle game happened back on Friday, the 3-run home run, her 3rd of the season, which gave the Buckeyes their first lead of that game.
And we mentioned Cordelletti being out. Destiny Nori stepping up is something that has helped Ohio State. As you mentioned, Dom, 2 singles and a home run, 3 RBIs, just a nice big bat in the middle of this lineup.
For an Ohio State team that entered the weekend leading the Big Ten in homers, more than 1 per game. Ooh, had no shot at that one. Boyd pulls the string.
I love when she throws that pitch because she takes just enough off of it that hitters aren't going to be able to square it up, but it's not too slow where they can reset. And the great part about it as well is that she can really locate that pitch.
A refreshed repertoire is the big reason why Matty Boyd is having so much success this year, pitching at an all Big Ten pace. And a heater complements the breaking stuff so well.
Well, how about it? She goes low, almost a little bit away with that off speed, and then she comes up with that fastball, slight little bit of a rise to it. It just mixes eye levels, it mixes speeds, and that's how you keep hitters off balance.
Trying to strand Farley at second. Instead, Nori gets out in front of it, and Ohio State picking up where it left off in the middle game, fighting with 2 strikes.
What an adjustment, though, by Nori. She completely whiffed at that last off speed, and Matty Boyd does take a little bit off that last pitch as well, but this time Nori just adjusting, fighting it off so that she can get something that she wants to hit.
Here comes another 2-2. Outside corner, strike 3. And Matty Boyd strikes out a couple to wiggle out of trouble in the first.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
And now Morgan Smith takes ball 1. Miller is a more than strikeout per inning pitched kind of hurler. 26 punch-outs, 23 innings. But Morgan Smith has got Oppo Taco 2 of the last 3 times she stood in that batter's box.
And not only Oppo Taco, those pitches were low and outside, and she just made it look so easy hitting the ball the other way.
Taken all the way, 2-1.
And that's what makes it so difficult to pitch to Morgan Smith, because there's very little that she can't hit. We've seen her crush the ball to the left side as well, so just finding her weakness is something quite difficult to do.
And now a hitter's count for one of the hottest hitters in the Big Ten.
And it makes me wonder if Miller is trying to make sure that she stays away from those heat zones, because as we've seen, Morgan Smith can put even balls over the fence.
Takes that inside for ball 4. Boost that on-base percentage higher. Her OPS is something like 1,300. And a 2-out base runner for Peyton Lincavage.
And it's tough if you're Ohio State, because Peyton Lincavage has been somebody who has just crushed the Buckeyes throughout her career. So you don't really want to walk Morgan Smith in most instances, because you do have Lincavage behind her to protect her, which I'm sure Kristen Butler has thought about, which is why the order is structured as it is.
And Lincavage having a solid 5th-year senior campaign, but had 2 home runs in the first game of this weekend, the one that Rutgers won 6-1. The senior has a pair of multi-home run games in her career. They've all come in the last 2 seasons, both against Ohio State. Although, for what it's worth, she was held hitless in the middle one, which is an accomplishment for these Buckeyes who are tired of seeing Miss Lincavage.
Absolutely. They did a really good job on her in that second game, and hey, you know, they came out victorious. So a key that, you know, Coach Kovac Shanley said to us, or not necessarily a key, but somebody that she was keeping an eye on, was Peyton Lincavage, and they neutralized her in game 2.
Wanted to get that one, Buckeye fans wanted a strike call on it. Instead, it's 1-2.
It was close. It was a little bit up and out, but I like that pitch from Julia Miller because she has been throwing the fast stuff to Peyton Linkavage, switch it up a little bit and try to freeze her up on that outside part of the plate.
1-2. There's the heater, missed, and Smith steals second. Ohio State was not super prepared for that. Miller thought the throw was coming back to her. In the end, Smith is able to advance on her second swipe of the season.
It's a good base running move here. There's 2 outs. Get that runner in scoring position. Morgan Smith does run well. Now Linkavage has an opportunity with a single to score her.
Two-two. And Linkavage fighting.
Miller throws that rise ball just a little bit up through the zone that it's kind of difficult to lay off of, which makes it very difficult as a hitter to see if you're going to take or let it go. In addition to that, she also starts it a little bit lower sometimes and rises it into the zone, and I just really like that pitch, and I want to see her utilize it a little bit more.
Climbs the ladder for strike 3. Julia Miller in the zone in the first.
4 for 6, 2 doubles. You see it on that graphic right there. And she also just missed a home run in that last game. She has been swinging a great bat for the Buckeyes.
Quarter Cracks, the junior, who was a first-team All-Big Ten pick a season ago and ranked second in the conference with 15 doubles. She has been red hot. 6 home runs in the week and a half that the Buckeyes spent in Tennessee. And Rutgers pitching has respected her. Had 2-0. That number, by the way, those numbers, the 4 for 6 in the last game, could have been even better if not for one of the best catches that you were going to see all season long in college softball. Rutgers left fielder Jill Anderson robbed Quarter Cracks of a 3-run home run, and she really went and brought that back.
It literally was over the fence, and Anderson just got up and out.
Oh, it's chopped past Lawson into center field. Now, sometimes when things are going good, they're really going great, and that's the case for Cammie Quarter Cracks.
Well, she hit that so hard. That's a tough ball for Lawson to play. You'll watch it again right here. Quarter Cracks just going with this pitch, but she hits it hard. Lawson gets in front of it, but look at that bad hop at the end. She does just about everything that she can do. Cammie Quarter Cracks, though, that error comes from her hitting the ball so hard.
And it is scored as an error against Lawson. The third one by Rutgers defense this weekend. Ohio State has not committed an error. And corner infielders are in as Mackenzie Bump calls time. Now, both teams were in the bottom half of the conference in fielding percentage entering this weekend. But in the last game, it really cost Rutgers. As Bump gets the bunt down, Linkavage has one play and throws it over Lawson's head. And so Quarter Cracks goes to third. She's going to stop there. Back-to-back errors by Rutgers set up the Buckeyes in the second.
And it just comes down to the little things in these games. You've seen how close these matchups have been, just back and forth between the two teams. You can't have costly mistakes like this. Mackenzie Bump does a great job of just deadening this ball over to third base, and then good heads-up base running as well for her to get to second on the overthrow.
This is unusual for Rutgers. These struggles in the field, especially the last couple of years as Kristen Butler's turned this program around. They've been top 5 in the Big Ten the last 2 years in fielding percentage. And she told it to us, it's been our biggest issue this year. We practice defense every single day. Bit of an enigma to the Rutgers coaching staff, but it's got them in a jam as Hannah Church takes upstairs.
Absolutely, and you know, it's that cliche of defense wins championships, and you see it playing a big role right here. Now you have second and third, nobody out, where essentially you should have 2 outs, nobody on. And so now, as an infield, you have to come in. Any ball on the ground, you're going to expect that these Ohio State runners are going to score, running the angle down or automatics. As outfielders, you're in a little bit more because in the air, you're going to watch for that base runner to tag at third. So it just makes things a little bit more difficult when you have those errors to put those runners in scoring position.
Boyd deals. And a great block by Wingert. Might have saved a run there.
Oh, it certainly saved a run. That ball was skipping. Does a really good job of getting a glove on it.
Katie Wingert is one of the best defensive catchers in the Big Ten and entered the weekend leading the conference in runners caught stealing. She's had 10 of them so far. Chop to third, a look at the base, and a better throw across the diamond for an unproductive first out.
That's a huge out for Rutgers, though. Second and third, nobody out. Ground ball, really good job by Matty Boyd to force that ground ball.
Yeah, much better work there from Peyton Linkavage. We've talked about this a ton. Last year won the Rawlings Gold Glove Award for third base. Committed just one error at that spot last year. She's already had 5 this season, including the one you just saw a moment ago. So uncharacteristic. Now Kirsten Epley, ball 1.
But I think that says a lot about Peyton Linkavage and her ability to rebound, right? So she makes an error that puts runners in scoring position. Now the ball's hit right back at you. That's how softball works. It always finds you right after you commit that error. So how do you respond? Peyton Linkavage doing a great job of that and getting the next out.
Epley slams this to center. Smith is all the way back and makes the catch. But Cami Kortokrax has tons of time to score, and Ohio State has itself another lead.
That's exactly what you needed to do if you were Ohio State. Just find a way to push a run across. Great piece of hitting here. She hits this ball nice and deep. You'll see it. Morgan Smith, though, also a really good job in center to know, look, I can't get that runner going home. Let me square up my body so I can make a good throw to third. Again, not able to get the runner, but great heads-up play.
And now bump is at third for Taylor Cruz, who takes strike 1. For Kirsten Epley, that is her first RBI of the weekend. And for an Ohio State team that did not lead for the first 12 innings this weekend, they've got their 3rd lead now since the middle of that middle game. Cruz is way out in front, 0-2.
I've said it so many times this weekend, but I want to see Matty Boyd use that pitch more. It's so effective, and you know, you kind of forget that she has it for a little bit until she throws one like that, and you're like, oh yeah, this is great, use it.
Where does she go? Looking for strike 3. Off speed again, and it pays off. Matty Boyd is rolling on Sunday. 3 strikeouts, just 1 unearned run to her name.
Matty Boyd used that off-speed pitch. It's working for you again. She gives up just 1 run. Rutgers will try to answer in the bottom of the 2nd.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
The way that she's been hitting the ball, but some of the plays that she's made defensively, she had that nice catch behind second base in that 10th inning, and I just think that she's a big reason why Ohio State is successful both offensively and defensively. And that's what you want out of your shortstop, too. She's supposed to command that infield for you. Just having the wherewithal to go to second on a sacrifice bunt and try to get that force out. Really great job by her.
Outside corner with that pitch to Maddie Lawson, 1-1. Maddie Lawson has boosted her batting average by something like 50 points this weekend. The junior was mired in a miserable slump, but she's been swinging a good bat. Although hangs this in the air for too long, and Heckman corrals it out number 2.
And she swung a big bat in big moments as well. She just was very key. She had some just really good hard contact. Even that out right there, no, it doesn't move a runner. It's not necessarily productive, but getting good bat on the ball, and that's what you want to see when you're trying to work out of a slump.
Yeah, had 2 doubles in the last game. Both of those came on Friday, including one that cleared the bases. Picked up 3 RBI in the process as Jill Anderson takes ball 1.
Jill Anderson with that big catch in game 2 that we're going to be talking about a lot. Now she'll try to do something for her team with the bat.
Yeah, if you go prowling around on social media later, you're going to see that. If you end up on softball talk too, I imagine. Is that what they call it? Softball talk? You got book talk.
There's book talk, definitely softball talk. There's women in sports talk. That one's fun. We love all the support for women in sports.
Curled into left. Cruz comes charging in to make the catch. Side retired. No magic that time for Jill Anderson. But Rutgers does tie the ball game. Katie Wingert drills another one out of here. She's been doing this for 6 seasons in these parts. And her 9th home run brings Rutgers level with Ohio State, 1 apiece. We have a tie ball game as we enter the 3rd inning. Rutgers getting a home run from Katie Wingert. Ohio State, meanwhile, has yet to collect a hit off of Matty Boyd in this game. It was a couple of errors and a sacrifice fly that helped the Buckeyes bring around the first run of the day as Caitlin Farley, the leadoff hitter in this order, comes up for the 2nd time.
But it's all about creating runs. You know, in that first game of the series, Ohio State struggled to push runs across. So now, even if you're not able to get a hit, still manufacturing a run says a lot about the adjustments that you've made at the plate.
That pitch just caught a piece of Farley's bat, so it's 0-2. Caitlin Farley is one of 6 upperclassmen in this Ohio State order that, as we told you, is missing some key pieces. One we had a feeling would not play this weekend, that's Melina Wilkeson, the all-Big Ten outfielder who has not played since the first weekend of the season. Unclear why she has been out. It appears to be injury. Unclear the duration. And then the one that was more late breaking, we only found out when we got the lineup on Friday, Tegan Cordelletti, another star outfielder, the Big Ten leader in batting average at .471 out this weekend. And so filling some shoes, but the veterans are stepping up big time, like Farley moving up to the leadoff spot.
And that's a tough role to fill because you're setting the table for the entire offense. And one of the strengths of Ohio State has been their batting order, their offense, the way they've been able to produce runs. And so losing those big bats and then having to move up into different slots you're not used to, it's a tall task.
And this is an Ohio State program that expects success. 30-win season once again last year. 7 straight seasons where the Buckeyes have finished in the top half of the Big Ten. And in 5 of those 7 years, the campaign ended in the NCAA tournament. As Farley guides it foul right through the wickets. Look out, coach.
I like the athleticism. Look at the chuckle over there down the 3rd baseline. Just got to keep her on her toes, right? Let's watch it again. The breakdown of it, the foul ball. Coach Kovac-Shanley just doing a great job getting that left leg up, making sure she doesn't get hit. We don't need any more injuries, especially when it's cold like it is today.
That's a good point. Stings a little bit more. 2-2. We often talk about the perils of playing at the hot corner, but how about the hot corner adjacent box?
I give so much credit to the coaches in the coaching box because you have to have your head on a swivel at all times.
Farley guides this right at Linkavage. 1 gone.
Matty Boyd utilizing that off-speed pitch a little bit more. Maybe she heard me all the way up here, but it does do a really good job of keeping those Ohio State hitters off balance. Farley doing a really good job of fighting off a lot of Boyd's pitches. She comes with the off-speed, and Farley just not able to square anything up on that one.
Here's Taylor Heckman. And Matty Boyd pours another one into the zone for strike 1. The pitch. And misses that upstairs. A ball and a strike.
Heckman's just been having some great at-bats. I mean, she's been doing a good job of getting on base, having a good eye, some discipline, just being what you want out of a 2-hitter.
once again is the really off-speed stuff, the change. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
Perfectly placed too on a 1-1 count. You want that pitch to be a strike. Matty Boyd does it perfectly.
Hard to believe when you watch Matty Boyd pitch this year that she used to mostly be a relief pitcher. She's been mowing down most everybody in her grad student year.
And you know, Kristen Butler was talking to us about her and just the way that she comes to work every single day, and just having that mindset switch of being, you know what, I'm a starter now. So she'll come to practice, Coach Butler told us, and she'll be like, all right, what do you want me to do today, Coach? And Coach Butler's like, just rest. It's your off day. You can chill a little bit. But she is just so eager to be better and be good. And you see that paying off in the way that she's throwing this year and through that transition from reliever to starter.
It was a pretty candid conversation from what it sounds like between Kristen Butler and Matty Boyd when she arrived in New Jersey. Boyd is somebody who had never thrown more than 24 innings in a season before this year. Told you that at the start of the weekend, she led the Big Ten in innings. Kristen Butler told Matty, you're going to pitch 200 innings this season. And you can imagine the response from somebody like her, even as an experienced pitcher. What? Now here we are, halfway there. With some new pitches thrown into that arsenal that have really helped her out, like that off-speed thing. Strike 3. Ohio State has been baffled by it all day long.
It just freezes hitters. And this one, too, it is placed at the top part of the strike zone, which, you know, when you teach pitchers where to throw that, you don't always want it that high because it does give them more time to reset and hit it. But because she just has so much spin on it and because she's able to place it, especially in counts when she's behind, it is still effective regardless if it's up in the zone or down low.
And there it is down low to get strike 1 on Jasmine Burns.
And one of the most difficult things to teach pitchers is the speed at which you want that off speed because, you know, it's not about how slow you can throw it because then people can reset. If you throw it too fast, it doesn't fool people enough. So finding that perfect speed and spin is something that Matty Boyd has seemed to perfect.
Up the fastball there. It's 1-1 to Burns. Burns drove in 2 in the middle game of this series. 25 RBI for her as a freshman and an everyday starter. And gets ahead 2 balls and a strike.
And I want to go back to that off-speed pitch as well because what's your approach then if you're Ohio State? You know that Boyd is starting to utilize that pitch a little bit more. Well, you have to pick what you want to sit. So you're either going to sit the slow or you're going to sit the fast. So if she throws that slow stuff, and you're sitting fast, don't swing at it until you get 2 strikes. That's the adjustment that needs to be made.
Burns clobbers it to left. Will it stay in the yard? Anderson at the wall makes the catch. Whew! Jasmine Burns very nearly left the yard once again, but Anderson back to wall brings it back. And so we stay tied 1-1, 2.5 through. Some congratulations are in order for one of the newest members of the Buckeye softball program who has brought in the newest member of her family. I'm talking about Kelsey Stewart-Hunter, the Olympian, the star softball player who is in her first season as an assistant coach with Ohio State. She just had a baby boy back on Friday, was induced in the middle of the doubleheader, and gave birth to her second child. Hutton told that Mom and son and the rest of the family are doing A-OK and probably watching the broadcasts knowing her.
Baby number 2 has made it in the Hunter household. Congratulations to Kelsey Stewart-Hunter and the entire family. And now you have 2 little babies to run around. I hope they play baseball or softball because Mom was certainly an athlete herself.
I'll tell you what, Kelsey and her husband Bryce, they are now even strength with the kids. That's 2v2 in the Stewart-Hunter households. What a nice addition she has been to the Ohio State program. We were talking about this on Friday, knowing what was ahead for her And the third assistant, the paid third assistant in softball and all college sports, has brought so much wisdom on board to these programs.
Oh, absolutely, because it allows you to hire, as Coach Kovac Shanley said, hire young talent and let them develop a little bit more and actually pay them. You know, that used to be a volunteer position, so it was really hard to keep great coaches in the profession when you can't pay them. So I think it's been such a great addition to softball, such a great addition to college athletics, and I'm excited to see the quality of coaching and how it trends upward with this new addition.
Playing full-time in the WNBA, and there are several active W players who are now also college coaches. L.A. Matthews drives this to center. Epley is at the fence. It's off the middle of the wall. Kylie Sand has all the speed in the world, so she's going to score. And L.A. Matthews slides into third with a go-ahead triple. A laser from L.A. Lexi Paulson, a sophomore, who's usually factoring out of the bullpen, comes in here with a huge task. Keep this a one-run game, get 3 outs.
I liked what Coach Kovac Shanley said about Lexi Paulson. She called her their spin extraordinaire. And I like that language, but I think it just really speaks to the kind of pitcher that she is. She said that she does a really good job of spinning the ball off the bat, and I think that's what you need now to shut down a Rutgers lineup that has been scoring the ball up quite well.
And maybe give Morgan Smith a different look. And 2 of the last 4 times Smith has come to the plate, she's gone yard. Could she do it again? Cruz is drifting. She has done it again! Morgan Smith is unstoppable. Rutgers leads by 3.
Oh my, Morgan Smith. She had 2 home runs in the last game to right center, so she wanted to switch it up a little bit, this time going over the left field wall. What can she do? She is just absolutely fantastic and a catalyst in this Rutgers offense. A beautiful piece of hitting. She gets all of this ball. She knows it's gone off the bat. Watch the confidence. Have yourself a nice little trot around the bases, Morgan Smith.
This is a new level of elite for Morgan Smith, who just cranked her 11th home run of the season. And Big Ten best 37 RBI now for the senior, who is on a Big Ten Player of the Year kind of pace, giving Rutgers valuable innings in a circle, but now even more significantly, hitting .450 and contending with the best sluggers in the Big Ten. Heck, she might be the best slugger in the Big Ten with the way she's swinging the bat right now.
She's contending with the best sluggers in the Big Ten, but also the best sluggers in the country. 37 RBIs, Dom. This is only the first weekend of conference play. That is just insane. And the thing is, she makes it look so easy. Like every single swing, even the home runs, she just makes it look so effortless. Just such an extraordinary player.
That's a power surge this season for Smith. She has never hit this many home runs in a season. And Rutgers has plated 3 here in the 3rd inning to grab a lead. And now Peyton Linkavich, who has terrorized the Buckeyes over her last couple of seasons, and takes all the way on 3-0. Now, one of the issues, if you can call it that, for Smith with those home runs in the last game where Rutgers lost by 2, they both came to lead-off innings. She wasn't able to bring in a bunch with the home runs. Brings in 2 there, and now the first 4 in the inning have reached base safely as Linkavich works a 5-pitch walk. The other Scarlet Knight who is homered in this game is Katie Wingert. And the veteran catcher takes strike 1. Now Wingert cranked a solo shot to left. Good for her 9th of the season. And her 38th of her career. That's a notable number, because she is now 3 home runs shy of breaking Rutgers' all-time home run record. It's 40, set by a woman named Jackie Bates in the early 2010s. This is somebody in Katie Wingert who was a regular on SportsCenter as a freshman way back in 2019.
Can we not say way back in 2019?
For your sake, I won't. But Wingert in that freshman season, in 3 consecutive Rutgers home games, hit a walk-off home run. Every single one. It was late in the season, too.
Well, that's the thing. It's one thing to hit home runs, right? But it's a whole different thing to hit home runs when it matters, and that's what Katie Wingert has done. Even in this game, her home run came at a time when Rutgers needed it most, and I think that just says a lot about her, not only as a hitter, but the kind of competitor she is, being able to step up in big moments.
Well, the count is 2 balls and 1 strike now as Wingert fouls it back. I think they catch Lexi Paulson with an illegal pitch there. That last one?
It looked like it. The umpire signaled that with his arm out.
Yep, that was the first base umpire, Gil Zayas. And the count is now 2 balls and 2 strikes.
I'd be interested to see what the cause of the illegal pitch was, especially with some of the new pitching rules that have been implemented this season.
Wingert waits on it, flicks it to right, and the second baseman Farley is out there. And that is the first out of this inning.
Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in the action.
Linkavage at third, Bach at second, and Hura at first. As Maddie Lawson takes down the shoot, strike 1.
And I think that's the first step in kind of slowing this Rutgers offense down is let's throw strikes, get ahead on the hitters.
Ohio State brings the infield in. And Church keeps that from the backstop.
Good job by Church. You don't want any more runs to come across. And if you're the Ohio State infield, you do have to be in, as you mentioned, Dom, but you're looking to get that force out.
Miller deals. And Lawson bounds it off the pitcher. It's knocked down. They have no play. So Linkavage scores from third. Everybody else moves up, and Rutgers keeps the baton moving.
This is a tough play for Smith. It's hit right back at her, but she tried to field it almost backhanded with her glove, just hit a little bit too hard. She bats it down with her glove, gets away from her, and then there's no play for Ohio State.
Rutgers has broken out for a big lead here in the third inning and are searching for more. Allison Smith is the Buckeyes reliable in the circle as a pinch hitter, Bailey Briggs, grabs a bat, and the freshman will swing for Jillian Anderson here in the 9-hole. It's bases loaded with Scarlet Knights. Caleb Bach at third, Kobe Hura at second, Maddie Lawson at first. And it's a 1-1 count against Briggs.
I like the opportunity for a freshman to come in this big moment. Bases loaded, 1 out. You're trying to kind of get your feet underneath you, figure out what it takes to be good at this college level, and you have a great opportunity here to do so.
Briggs floats it into left field. It dunks in for a base hit. Cruz throws it to third. It gets away from quarter cracks. Bailey Briggs grabs a bat and comes up with her first Big Ten hit. Rutgers offense awakening.
Look at the smile there from Briggs. That's so exciting to get your first hit in conference play, especially as we were saying in a big moment like that. Doesn't have to do a whole lot with this, just dunks it into shallow left field. Atta girl, Briggs.
Quarter cracks sliding over from shortstop, did everything she can at third. Third RBI of the season for Briggs as now Rutgers has batted around. Kylie Sand got this whole mess started with a regular old walk. But then L.A. Matthews hit a triple, brought her in. Morgan Smith hit a 2-run home run after that. Couple of walks, couple of singles since have done it all. As Sand carves it down the line and Cruz can't get there.
Cruz has done a really good job this entire series of just protecting that foul line. That's a really hard ball to field off a left-handed batter as it's curving away from you. And, you know, it did end up being foul, and Cruz didn't have a play on it. But the way that she reads the ball off the bat, she does a really good job.
Allison Smith has now pitched in every game in this series. Took the loss in Game 1, got the win in Game 2. Back Sand off the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes. All told for Smith, it's 7 innings, 4 runs, 5 strikeouts. But she struggled in the opener Friday, and then in the middle game, stretch between Friday and Sunday, she was far better. As Sand smacks this to left, Cruz has room and makes the catch. But Kobe Hura tags and scores and add another one for RU.
They're probably going to just allow that runner to go to second. You don't want to mess around a little bit and give up yet another run.
Ohio State keeps the infield fairly drawn in, even with 2 outs. A strike one to LA Matthews, who may be 4 years the senior of her teammate at first, Bailey Briggs, but she also picked up her first Big Ten RBI with that triple earlier in this inning. Transfer from Houston, who started her career at Penn State, but never played a Big Ten game. 2020, her freshman season, COVID, 21 opted out, and then 22 transferred to Houston. So all these years later, it comes full circle for LA.
She gets that first Big Ten hit and very full circle. A nice little journey to get here.
Smith is ahead, 0-2. Matthews got jammed, and Quarter Cracks grabs it. Puts the 3rd inning to rest. But Rutgers offense roars to life. Most productive lineup Kristen Butler's ever had here in the Banks. Last season it was Rutgers at Ohio State, and it was the Buckeyes who won 2 of the 3 games. Ohio State would go on to end Rutgers' season with the win in the opening round of the Big Ten tournament. A year later, some of the same names in place at both programs, but some impact additions. And the Scarlet Knights on their home turf are trying to return the favor. Matty Boyd is pitching with a 6-run lead as she tosses that first one out of the zone to Destiny Norrie, the cleanup hitter for the Buckeyes. Matty Boyd may not have been a part of that, but boy, she factors into this too.
Oh, absolutely. Just with the way that she's been throwing the ball. And what I was going to say, too, is, you know, we talk about a 6-run lead. It was at this point yesterday where we were saying it's the 4th inning. You still have 4 more chances to bat. And Ohio State worked their way back. So I think that this is something that's going to be really interesting in this series. As you mentioned, Ohio State taking 2 of the 3 from Rutgers last year. Rutgers trying to do that same thing now, but this series has been so much fun to watch because of the way that these teams fight up against each other.
Just missed that corner, so it's 2-1.
And it's interesting, too, when you have a big inning like Rutgers did in the bottom of the 3rd. What is Matty Boyd doing in those moments, you know? So she's sitting for a good amount of time, and when it gets cold, it's not quite as easy to come back out there, so you want to get moving around and you want to try to really attack that first hitter, especially after sitting for a bit.
Now the off-speed still looks to be in prime shape. You can hear the wind whipping in our microphones. Pretty steadily gusting straight away here at the Rutgers Softball Complex, although it is a cloudless and sunny day. A few dozen people amassed on the berm over the left field fence as Norrie pops it up, and it's going to get out of play. Ended up in here.
That was a little bit closer than I thought it was. Don't know how that got in here, but no one was injured, I'd like to report.
You and me neither. We're at a broadcast perch up the first baseline, and usually foul balls, I don't think twice about them.
I didn't think about it either. So everyone at home might have heard my gasp. I apologize for that. That came almost right off our monitor right in front of us. So nothing was harmed in that foul ball, thankfully.
Swing and a miss. Matty Boyd racks up her 5th strikeout of the afternoon.
Boyd uses the off speed to set up this pitch up a little bit, climbing the ladder. Strikeouts seem to be a thing for Matty Boyd today.
That's for sure. Changing her speeds and spots against an Ohio State offense that has not really gotten to Boyd much. Strike one to Cami Quartercracks, who scored the first run of this day. Reached on an error by Rutgers second baseman Maddie Lawson. Next hitter Mackenzie Bump reached on an error by the 3rd baseman Peyton Linkavage. It wound up being a 2 base error, so that put both runners in scoring position, and Kirsten Epley wound up driving in quarter cracks on a sac fly. All of that to say, the Buckeyes are still in search of their first hit of this game. One. She just found it. Absolute laser beam that gets all the way to the fence. Smith chucks it back in. Pretty close play, but Cami Quartercracks has another double.
If anybody's going to get this Buckeyes offense going, it's going to be Cami Quartercracks. She just smokes this ball through to center field. It gets all the way to the wall. She hit it so hard. Morgan Smith does a good job of getting it in, but Cami Quartercracks on her horse from the get-go, getting all the way to second, trying to spark her team.
Cami Quartercracks, have yourself a series. Have yourself a season.
We focused so much on her offense, but defensively she made that really nice snag to get the force on the sacrifice bunt. She made a good play.
Bump, slams it to right. This should score a run. Quartercracks hustling for home. She's in, and Bump beats the throw at seconds. 2 pitches, 2 doubles for Ohio State's offense, which has a response in the 4th.
Quartercracks and Bump just trading places here. Mackenzie Bump, we joked about her getting bumped a lot and getting on base with some hit by pitches. So today she said, you know what? I think I want to swing the bat a little bit, crushes this ball to right field, and again, knowing right off the bat that where she needs to be is second base to get herself in scoring position.
That is the first hit Mackenzie Bump has collected this weekend. She's had a ton of walks and hit by pitches. And now Hannah Church. I just said, too, that Matty Boyd has not really been hit all that much by Ohio State this weekend. Boyd has pitched in all 3 games, including this inning, has gone exactly 10 frames. 4 runs allowed. That's rolled up there and smothered by Wingert.
That's a good spot for that off-speed pitch. The last 2 hitters really squared up Matty Boyd, so you want to start working in that off-speed once again because it really has done a good job of keeping Ohio State off of balance.
One. 2 balls and a strike. And probably a well-timed mound visit here by Katie Wingert as all of a sudden Matty Boyd has struggled to locate.
Well, Katie Wingert has been doing this for a long time, Dom. She knows when she needs to talk to her pitchers, and you know, it's 7-2. Rutgers still has that 5-run lead, but you don't want it getting out of hand here. Just have a quick conversation with your pitcher. Say, look, we're good. We have 1 out, runner on second. Let's go at this hitter right now. Take it pitch by pitch.
Two-1 to Church. There's the off-speed, resurfacing for a strike. I'd love to know how many times she has thrown that pitch for a strike today.
That's another thing that we have to start tracking. Friday, we were talking about how many foul home runs we were going to track, but that is definitely one I would like to know because she can just locate that like no other.
2-2. That throws the fastball on the back of it. Nice job by Church spoiling it.
And if I'm Boyd here with this 2-2 count, I'd be tempted to throw that off speed again, but I don't want it anywhere close to the heat of the plate. I'm looking more like on that low outside part of it.
Here it comes. Yeah, wasted it away.
The dangerous part about it, though, is she can throw it on 3-2. She has such good control of it. And so if you're Church, you're thinking about that a little bit. You want to try to fight off anything that comes your way to get maybe that fast one that you know that you can crush.
Full count offering is inside, ball 4. The 3 straight Ohio State hitters have reached base here in the 4th inning.
And it's all about crawling back. This is exactly what they did yesterday. They trailed by 6 runs, and you just chip away and chip away. And I think it just shows the resiliency of this Buckeyes offense to be able to crawl back when they have hit some of these deficits. Now on the flip side, like we talked about earlier, your Rutgers, you still have a 5-run lead. You got 1 out. You want to keep your infield normally where it is. If you're the outfielders, you're not really shallow. You want to just hit your cut on this. There's no sense of throwing it home if you get the ball on the ground. And so it's just knowing as a defense where you're going with the ball if it's hit to you.
Well, stoppage here is for Ohio State to pinch run for the catcher Church. That's Skylar Lamone who will take her place. With Mackenzie Bump a base ahead of her, and Kirsten Epley, who's had an RBI today, going to the plate. Maria said it a few minutes ago, no lead is safe between these two teams, it feels like. Epley first pitch swinging. Matthews is tracking it, and it drops in, foul. 3 fielders there, Hura from right, Lawson from second, and Matthews at first. And it wound up in the middle of them all.
In that instance, I think that I want Matthews to be the last person trying to catch that ball. Both the second baseman and the right fielder have such a better angle running in. I would have really liked to see that right fielder just come in and take that away from Matthews.
One and one. Boyd deals. Long hold there from Katie Wingert, trying to frame that one on the inside corner. Charles McManus not calling strike 2.
It's tough because you really want that. That 2-1 count is a heck of a lot different than the 1-2, especially with the runner in scoring position and yet another runner on first base.
And now it's a 3-1 count. It sure does look different. One more bad one would load the bases. And Sam Hackenbrack just grabbed a bat and stepped into the on-deck circle for Ohio State. Looks like she's going to swing in Taylor Cruz's place. As Epley pops this one up, again Matthews gives it a look, but this time it's getting out of play. That's notable. Hackenbrack is a 3-time All-Big Ten hitter who's been struggling this year, but is a 4-year starter. Well, now the count is full. Huge pitch coming from Matty Boyd to Kirsten Epley. That's lined to left. Anderson drifts back, and it's off the top of the wall and gone! Kirsten Epley just got enough of it to drive it out. The Buckeyes are back within striking distance.
The exit velocity on this ball, I would love to see it because she just hits this so hard. Anderson does a really good job of turning around and left, looking to play it off the wall. Kirsten Epley just getting behind it, a frozen rope, just getting out to cut this lead to 2.
Not the first time, it wouldn't be the first time that Ohio State's come all the way back in a game like this. And now Taylor Cruz is at the plate. So after the home run, Ohio State is going to hang on to Hackenbrack and maybe use her later on today and let the contact-heavy Cruz come to the plate. And Cruz did offer at that. Just appealed down to first.
I was glad about that appeal because when I watched it live, I was like, ooh, I think she went. Turns out she did.
Yeah, it was a very late appeal that Katie Wingert called for, and so it's strike 1. And Matty Boyd could use a little pick-me-up with a strike call there.
I like the attempt by Cruz, though, just trying to create some offense, scoring around a bunt, get more runners back on base for Ohio State.
inside corner 1 and 2. By the way, just to reset the Rutgers outfield, it's now Anderson stays in left. It's now Hura in center, and Kayla Bach re-enters and goes to right. Rutgers uses the DP spot in all sorts of ways, and so Morgan Smith technically right now is the DP. Strike 3. Katie Wingert was ready to throw the ball to first before Charles McManus was ready to ring up Taylor Cruz. Catcher might have just bought Boyd her 6th strikeout.
A little bit of a delayed third strike call. Matty Boyd placing this perfectly on that low outside corner. Katie Wingert knew it was a strike. She said, all right, time to throw it around. We need out number 2 of this inning to get going here.
And maybe that has Boyd back on track. Ohio State has the top of the order, and Caitlin Farley baffled by strike 1. Home run has been the story in this finale. Rutgers senior leaders crushed a pair of them, Wingert and Smith. And Kirsten Epley out of the 8-hole with the big swing so far for the Buckeyes. One. It's up at the eyes. Here's the 2-1. And Farley fouls it off.
I'm interested to see here if Boyd goes back to that off speed, especially she started off too Farley with it to get that first strike call.
Two. That runs the count full.
Ohio State has just done such a great job of having good at-bats in this inning too. Even when they are making outs, they're pushing the count to full and just fouling pitches off. And I think that's able to stay in games even when they get down by a lot of runs.
Farley golfs this over to third, and Linkavage gloves the final out of the 4th.
It has been the tale of this series of these teams just going back and forth. Rutgers getting up big, Ohio State responding. And you know what also happens? Ohio State responds, and then Morgan Smith seems to respond as well. So will that play out here? I don't know, but it has happened quite a few times this weekend.
Now, the recent history says Morgan Smith has another home run in her bones in this game. Slams it to left. Cruz on the warning track brings it in. She was a step shy of a home run. Instead, Taylor Cruz takes a long route to that one in left center field. One gone.
Epley gives her a hug after this one. How about Morgan Smith, though, waiting on the off-speed pitch, making sure she just gets all of this ball. Just not enough, though. A great play by Cruz, going back to the wall and holding on to it. You see the little fist pump and excitement from Epley in center.
I was going to say, I don't think anybody was more excited than Kirsten Epley next to her.
That's a big out, too, for Smith. A big out of Smith by Smith.
Yeah, Miss and Miss Smith doing battle once again here in Piscataway. Peyton Linkavage has walked and struck out, also scored a run. Rutgers batted around in the 3rd inning, as this is towered down the line. Cruz in fair territory. Gloves out, number 2.
Allison Smith really working these Rutgers hitters to get them to pop up. The off speed to Morgan Smith gets her to fly out to left center. Now she gets Linkavage to do something similar. Just doing a good job of spinning that ball.
Katie Wingert mashed the other home run the Scarlet Knights have today. It was back in the 2nd inning to tie the game at 1-1. Feels like an eon ago right now. Wingert, who is second all-time in Rutgers history in home runs. And now is even 1-1.
Rutgers' Matty Boyd has been using her off-speed a lot, and you see Allison Smith here in the bottom of the 4th inning bringing hers out a little bit too. She threw that one to Morgan Smith. She starts Wingert off with one as well. So trying to go pitch for pitch with Matty Boyd on that.
Yeah, couldn't bring Wingert to the outside corner, so it's 2 balls and a strike. That home run to begin the game from Wingert ended a long drought. Now for most players, a 17-game home run drought is not out of the ordinary. Sometimes you hit 1 or 2 a season. If you're a slapper, you might have 1 or 2 in your career, but not for somebody like Wingert, who hit 18 of them as a freshman. And so snapped a little bit of a drought. And golfs this one the other way, but foul.
It's impressive to me that 17 games without a home run is a quote-unquote drought. But for somebody who hits as many home runs as she does, with the power that she has, it does seem a little bit uncharacteristic to not have a home run in 17 games. So breaking out of it right now with that much-needed bomb for her Scarlet Knights today.
Well, Wingert was the first Big Ten Player of the Week this season. Opening weekends, Rutgers tournament in California. And Wingert had a home run in each of the first 4 games Rutgers played this year. And so it was a pretty no-doubt decision by the Big Ten coaches.
I would say if you hit 4 home runs in as many games, then you should get a weekly honor.
Yeah, I would say so. We just caught a look at Morgan Smith warming up in the Rutgers bullpen as Katie Wingert takes ball 4. That 2-out base runner for the Scarlet Knights will bring up Kayla Bach. So Smith warming up. She was pulled from center field to do just that. The Rutgers still has likely 9 outs to get. So we'll see how the Scarlet Knights mix and match Boyd and Smith. They do have 2 pitchers they've used predominantly in relief roles, Georgia Engel and Lorelei Depew, who both pitched on Friday. 1-1.
They have arms to utilize, and they have arms to keep offenses off balance. And, you know, Matty Boyd got hit around a little bit in that last inning, so I'm interested to see who they go with heading into the top of the 5th.
If you want to peek ahead to the next half inning, Ohio State is due to have 2, 3, and 4 at the plate. Heckman, Burns, and Norrie. Although the rally in that top half of this inning came from the bottom of the lineup. Did Bach swing? No. Ooh, that was close. Gil Zayas said she did not go around. And so the at-bat continues.
Very close. I like the check there from Ohio State, though.
Allison Smith swings the 2-2. And that miss below the knees. Allison Smith feels like she's getting hosed right now.
Her and some of the Ohio State fans not happy with that pitch call right on the corner to Bach.
A senior pitcher has to buckle up. It's a 3-2 count. And it's chopped over to third. Bumps got it. And we are on to the 5th. She told us that she decided to bring the sweet treat tradition onto the field. And so if you get a single, you draw a walk, you get down to first base, and Cammie Uxley is right there to hit you with the sweet, which is, by the way, today, Sour Patch strawberry gummies.
Ooh, that sounds delicious.
Yeah, some good ones. It was gummy worms on Friday when our crew first spotted the handoff that was happening at first. But it's 1 gummy per base. So we asked her, you know, if somebody hits a home run like Kirsten Epley did an inning ago, is she shorted because she's just stopping by at first base for a moment? That is not the case, not to worry. Matty Boyd missing the zone there to Taylor Heckman. So if you hit a home run and you get 4 gummies, but you have to collect on your debt when you get back in the dugout.
That was my big question. We talked about that a lot on Friday. I was like, you know, you might only want to hit singles if you only get them when you get to first base. So I'm glad that we cleared that up. You do get more for hitting the ball farther. So that was probably very well thought out by Cammie Uxley.
And there still is an incentive to hit extra base hits if you're a Buckeye. There was a long string Friday in the second game where it was singles and walks, and so the handoff was just happening, felt like every at-bat.
You know, Cammie Uxley is so efficient with the two. Like, she is ready to go, and players are like, yes, give me that gummy.
I mean, who doesn't like free food?
Oh, I love free food. Like I said, I want some gummies. If I don't get some during the game, I'm stopping somewhere on the way home and picking up a bag of, I don't know what, definitely a Sour Patch something with the sugar on it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling today.
Sour seems to be working out for Ohio State's offense. Worm me. Heckman's down to first.
Heckman certainly got a lot of gummies in this series so far.
Yeah, that's a great count. I don't really care about the hits and the walks. Who's got the most gummies this weekend?
Oh, that would be another great stat to keep an eye on. So we're doing foul home runs, how many strikes Matty Boyd has thrown the off-speed pitch for, and how many gummies each Ohio State player has racked up in a series.
I have some questions. Jazzy Burns is at the plate. By the way, this is the tying run, and it's line to left, a diving try, and Anderson made another play. Today, Jillian Anderson has robbed a home run, and now she robs Jazzy Burns of a hit as well.
Jillian Anderson knows how to go back on a ball. We've seen that already, but how about this? Coming in, she gets a great jump off that bat, that first step. There's no hesitation, fully laying out and keeping that body level so that she doesn't let the ball pop out. Jillian Anderson putting on a clinic in left field.
Jillian Anderson is amazing in left. And now Destiny Nori way out in front of the change. Strike one.
I was going to say, you know what else is amazing? That off-speed pitch from Matty Boyd.
That might be her best pitch. I can't talk about the whole season, but certainly this series, it's been the most effective. Nori is 0 for 2 with a couple of strikeouts, and she is staring down a third one right now. This is an Ohio State team that went from trailing 7-1 to now bringing the tying run to the plate in an innings and a half's time.
A little bit of a break here. Not sure for what.
I think that was Kelly Kovac-Shanley having a chat with Destiny Nori, trying to straighten things out for the senior who delivered the big go-ahead 3-run home run Friday. But here she's behind 0-2, and Boyd deals. Strike three! She got another. Matty Boyd has rung up 7 strikeouts today.
She starts this at-bat with an off-speed pitch, and then she climbs a little bit up and away, and the last pitch of this sequence was away. Really good job by Matty Boyd getting the second out of the inning.
Pressure stays on, though. Cammie Quartercracks has been Ohio State's best hitter, I would say. Certainly most impactful hitter this series. Taylor Heckman over at first. Might have the most times on base, but Quartercracks 4 for 6 in the last game. And has scored 2 runs, reached base both times in this game. That skips away from Wingert, so Heckman's down to second.
And now Cammie Quartercracks has a runner in scoring position. So if you're Rutgers, you might want to bring the outfield in just a little bit. You're still up by 2 runs. You don't want to come in too much and make something even bigger than it is. The infield now, you're still going to first. There's 2 outs. So there's just some minor adjustments, but it really comes down to if you're an outfielder, knowing where you're going with the ball if it hits you on the ground.
Now, speaking of the outfield, Morgan Smith is back in center for Rutgers, and Kobe Hurd has slid over to right. Just noticed that. And that one's on the outer half, 2-1. Morgan Smith came in from center field, if you're just joining us, because She started this game in center. She has not pitched yet in this game, but Rutgers had her in the bullpen warming up in the last half inning. But Matty Boyd has found the stuff that made her tough to hit earlier in this game. Although she just misses the corner there. 3-1.
Shaking her head a little bit on that one. It was on the outer part of the plate, and instead of being 2-2, it's now 3-1.
Boyd's pitch. Chased and missed. I don't think Quarter Cracks was looking in her half and got out her half.
Either way, she was looking to be aggressive on that swing, which I like. The way that she's been hitting the ball, 3-1, you got to assume that Matty Boyd is coming into you. You're trying to bring Heckman home. I like that hack there.
A pivotal payoff pitch. It's fouled back. And so we'll do the 3-2 once more.
You want an aggressive swing here, but also you know that a single will score Heckman from second. So finding a way to just put that ball back up the middle, that should be the game plan here for Cami Quarter Cracks.
Here we go. Foul tipped, strike 3. Matty Boyd is having one of her best outings of the season. And she's gotten some help from Jill Anderson, who robbed a home run earlier today and came up with a big catch to Rob Burns just a few innings later.
That one was last game. How about this one in this game, though? Running in, picking that up out of the grass. Have yourself a day, Jillian Anderson. 7-5 Rutgers as we head to the bottom of the 5th.
Results around the conference have been eye-popping already as Kobe Hura sends this one down the left field line and right at the wall. Taylor Cruz makes the play. Now she has had some catches on the track today. Oh boy, oh God.
Taylor Cruz has just done a really great job in left field for Ohio State, but I really just think the outfield play from both teams today has been incredible. Both offenses really cracking the ball, putting that ball up, out on the warning track, and just Audie's doing a really good job of keeping things in the park.
And now Allison Smith gives Maddie Lawson strike 1. Some of those Big Ten results I was telling you about. Penn State completes the sweep of Indiana. Battle of the top 2 teams in the Big Ten by RPI entering league play. And Penn State, who was at 35, which was best in the conference, now 3-0 in the Big Ten.
I just have loved to see their progression throughout their time. I mean, they used to be at the bottom of the Big Ten. Now they're creeping their way up, and I just think it speaks to the conference as a whole of how it's kind of up for grabs this year.
Opposite way, and Heckman grabs it. 2 gone. Great jump by Heckman.
Great read off the bat from Heckman, and again, just more good. Oh, look at the hug. I love it. Epley just giving all of the love to both her right and left fielder, but another really good catch by an Ohio State outfielder. But kind of going back to what I was saying, the Big Ten this year is just so wide open. Both coaches kind of spoke to us about that as well, just the way that so many of the teams are so even this season.
Now here is Jillian Anderson, who has been Rutgers' defensive MVP this weekend. One and one. The one thing for Anderson, who was a really solid hitter at her previous stop, she's a transfer from Southeast Missouri State. She's in a slump at the plate. Had a nice start to the season, was hitting in the 300s, but has cooled off. Last time she had a hit was on March 11th, so it's been a week and a half. Oh, for her last 14. All that to say, the glove is definitely there, but she is due.
But that just speaks to how good of a player she is to be able to hold up that defensive end. She's not letting her 0 for 14 in her last 14 at-bats bother her, right? She's still stepping it up defensively, and I think that that's eventually going to translate offensively. The thing about the sport of softball is it's tough. If you fail 7 out of 10 times, you're a good hitter. So just working your way through out of slumps, having good at bats, showing up defensively, that's how things eventually fall into place. It really stinks when you're in those moments and you're wishing that you could just get out of them. But if you are resilient enough to show up every single day and put the work in, you're going to work your way out of them.
Spoils it foul.
And it starts with a good at bat. You know, it might not be a hit right away. It might start with a good at bat, and then you get your good contact, and then finally something falls.
Smith with another 2-2, and that's inside just a little bit.
That's a great spot. Anderson fouling things off to the left side. Smith trying to work her on the inside part of the plate to jam her.
Smith has been right there on a couple calls. And Anderson again puts us into foul territory.
This is the start, the good at bat. Foul some pitches off, work it to a 3-2 count.
Now, there's been a lot of contact from Anderson too. In this series, she's only struck out twice and 8 trips. And guides us over to second. Farley gobbles it up and sends us on to the 6th. Allison Smith has provided some great relief. 2 2/3, no hits. It is a beautiful Sunday afternoon in central New Jersey, and so fans have rolled out for this one. Rutgers softball's first home games of the season, and the berm is filled. The travel team from Robbinsville down south of here have made the trek, and most of those young players, their parents are sitting out on the berm, which is an outstanding spot to take in a game. Mackenzie Bump leading off the 6th. This is still Matty Boyd for Rutgers, as Bump bloops it to left, one away.
And I just love seeing young girls getting to come and watch college softball. I know when I was younger, it just wasn't quite as accessible to be able to see these athletes compete. And I think it's a great job by the parents and the coaches to kind of put them in front of this great competitive atmosphere, because it kind of shows them like, hey, I can do this too. And I think that there's so much to be said about that. They're having such a good time. You see them running up and down the hill. They got to stand with some of the Rutgers players during the national anthem. And that means a lot to a kid. So I love that. Grow the game, you know?
Yeah, it was somebody on the backside of that berm who was throwing a bullpen, it looked like. Looked like Dad was in a crouch.
Got to get the reps in whenever you can, you know?
Yeah, sheesh.
Hard work pays off.
Now Hannah Church is at the plate, takes strike 1.
Matty Boyd has really responded well after giving up those runs back in the 4th. She came back out in the 5th inning and really shut down Ohio State, now getting the first out of the inning and then starting 0-1 on batter number 2 of inning number 6.
Rocks and deals, and this is upstairs. Now, Matty Boyd has thrown a bunch of pitches in this game. She's about to throw her 105th. But you can add, it's roughly 15 more pitches that she threw earlier today in the wrap-up portion of the middle game of this series. Now, for those of you who may be joining us a little bit late from brunch or from services today, welcome aboard with the Maria Travel Piece, the rest of our Rutgers Big Ten Plus crew. I'm Dom Savino. We played a game plus today. We had to wrap up the middle game of this series because darkness put a kibosh on it 9 innings through on Friday. Ohio State wound up winning it with 3 runs in the top of the 10th today to win 11-9 and even the series after Rutgers won 6-1. And now Boyd, who got the final 2 outs of the 10th inning earlier, has gone the distance so far. And she's gotten it to 2-2. As Church clobbers it to left, it is an absolute no-doubter. Hannah Church crushes one to left field. Ohio State is within one.
Matty Boyd has been throwing that off speed all day, just challenging Ohio State hitters, saying, here, hit this. Church says, you know what? I think I'm going to take a swat at it, and she does. Waits back and crushes this ball. See her hands right here. Gets that front foot down. Puts Ohio State within one. That is a fantastic piece of hitting.
Hannah Church is a 2-year starter for Ohio State. She has been the everyday catcher and now has her second home run in as many weekends, her third total this season. And now the woman who has the biggest swing today for the Buckeyes, Kirsten Epley. Hers was a 3-run blast back in the 4th when the Buckeyes played it 4.
And that might have been one of the hardest hit balls in this series. I mean, just for her to hit that on a straight line and get it out of the park. Just a laser.
It barely cleared the ground.
Yeah. But it just, she hit it so hard that it just kept going, and it had enough height to get out.
It hit the very tippy top of the wall in left field. Jill Anderson, Rutgers left fielder, was playing it to take a carom. As this one sent out her way, but this is playable for the left fielder. And it's 2 gone. Well, there have been some fly balls and line drives absolutely crushed on a day where the wind is mostly blowing out. And that's been the hitter's betterment. Now, earlier in this game, we saw Ohio State readying Sam Hackenbrack to swing. In fact, she was going to swing after Epley in a situation where she could have brought in 3 with a swing. But now with the Buckeyes a runaway, they're going to use Hackenbrack, the 3-time All-Big Ten hitter, with Ohio State only having 4 outs left to play with.
And I love this coaching decision from head coach Kovac Shanley, because she did wait to use Hackenbrack in this moment, because she took her chances in that last moment just to see if she would need her later on. And now she does have her in a time when Hackenbrack can put one out to give Ohio State the lead.
Hackenbrack has a world of experience. More than 175 games in a Buckeye uniform as she's out in front, strike 1, wasting no time.
Well, you know, as a pinch hitter, it's really hard, especially if you've been sitting throughout the series, to come in and get a good hack on it. So I like the aggressiveness from Hackenbrack to just get in the box and be like, you know what, I'm taking a swing, see where it is.
Lays off that 1-1. This weekend, we have told several stories of players for both teams who are in their senior seasons and having career years. Unfortunately for Hackenbrack, that's not been the case. Somebody who hit in the high 370s each of her last 2 seasons is hitting 220 right now. She is such a powerful hitter. We have seen her might in Big Ten games over the last couple of years. Now is in her 5th year with Ohio State.
But, you know, it just takes one good swing to work out of that. She has the capability. You know that she is a phenomenal hitter, so she's in a little bit of a slump. That's all right. Again, it's all about how you respond, and I love that she has the opportunity to do so here in this game.
Hackenbrack has hit 40 homers in her career. She has got the power for sure. But Matty Boyd is now a strike away. Here's the 2-2. Swing and a miss. Matty Boyd went right back to it below the knees, and she gets strike 3, her 9th punch out. Final out was around 9 o'clock. Our crew didn't go home till about 9:30, and they rolled back in here to the Rutgers softball complex as early as 7:30 this morning to provide the broadcast that we've given you today. As Kylie Sand serves it to center, and it's over Epley's head and against the wall. And Kylie Sand is standing at second with a lead-off double. Boy, could Rutgers use some insurance.
This ball just kept rising. Off the bat, Kylie Sand hits it really well, and Epley does a really good job. You see her drop step over the right shoulder. Watch it again right here. Kylie Sand does a really good job of keeping her hands low, and Epley, again, just drop stepping, trying to go back, but it kept climbing and climbing and climbing, and it was just out of her reach. Kylie Sand gets on her horse, gets right to second for a leadoff double for the Scarlet Knights.
Allison Smith trying to navigate through the top of Rutgers' order unscathed. L.A. Matthews at the plate and bunts it foul. Corners are drawn in here for the Buckeyes. Although Matthews' most impactful plate appearance today was that triple back in the third inning.
Just a really good piece of hitting there for her, and I'm interested to see if she does go to the bunt here again. I like it. She's a left-handed hitter. She can drag. It can be a hit in addition to that, and you just want to try to get runs across if you're Rutgers. As you have seen, no lead is safe in this matchup.
Yeah, Matthews with her first triple of the season, first in a Rutgers uniform, drove in the first of the 6 runs Rutgers scored in that inning. And not bunting there as she fouls it off.
Now you have 2 strikes. You're just trying to stay alive, find a pitch that you can hit, but also you're just kind of protecting the plate. You want to try to hit a ground ball to the right side at the very least to move Sand to third. L.A. Matthews has the opportunity to do so. It's a little bit easier as a left-handed hitter to pull that to that right side.
Smith ahead. And Matthews waits on it. It's basically like a bunt. Sand goes to third, and it's a close out at first.
How about that base running, though, by Kylie Sand? No hesitation. She sees that the ball is hit slowly, so it serves its purpose. L.A. Matthews moving Sand to third.
And with that, the hottest hitter in the Big Ten comes to the plate where even a fly out would get the job done. Morgan Smith has traded home runs and outs for 6 straight plate appearances. In case you're wondering, she's doing this one. And it takes ball 1.
And you wonder as a pitcher, what do you even throw her? She's hit 2 home runs over the right field wall. She's hit one over on an off-speed pitch over the left field wall. And so she's just been seeing everything and smashing everything.
It looks like so far Smith trying to stay on the corners.
I mean, one of the home runs she hit to right, it wasn't even a strike. It was low and outside, and she reached down and got it. So you can stay on the corners, and she still might crush it.
And on the hands, but ball 2.
That's a really good spot, though. That was one spot where you saw Smith jump back a little bit, keeping it on that inside part of the plate. That's a really good pitch. I know it was called a ball, but nice spot by Allison Smith.
Smith golfs one to left, right at Cruz. Sand tags, sprints home, and scores. It's a very well-struck sacrifice fly for Morgan Smith, who collects her 3rd RBI of this game and gives Rutgers a little bit of breathing room for the 7th.
That run, though, was scored because of the base running by Kylie Sand. The lack of hesitation on that ground ball is what got her to third and gives that ball a capability to be a sac fly. So very understated, the importance of base running, and that's something that we actually haven't talked about a lot this series, but something that Rutgers is usually quite good at is that aggressive base running.
Kylie Sand has been the model of it, what Rutgers is trying to do on the base paths. Entered the weekend only 7th in the Big Ten, averaging almost exactly a steal a game, and I say only because they've been top 4 a couple of seasons, with Sand leading that charge. So the bases are clear, the run is in, and here's Peyton Linkavich.
And any run is an insurance run here because both of these teams have just found ways to manufacture runs when you think that there's no coming back from it. Even yesterday, Morgan Smith's home run to tie the game at 8 after Ohio State took the lead was something that you're like, oh, wow, this is still a game. And then we had 10 innings. And then even in this game, Rutgers is up by 5, and Ohio State battles back. And so I just think that you want to push across runs in any way that you can.
Yeah, and if you're curious, in the top of the 7th, Ohio State will have the top of its order as well. So Farley, Heckman, and Burns due up, with Destiny Norrie in the cleanup spot. Also will be interesting to see if Rutgers sticks with Matty Boyd, if Morgan Smith factors into the pitching responsibilities in that last inning, as Linkavich hooks another one foul. It ain't over till it's over with these two teams, one way or the other. 2-2, and bounced in front of the plate. Smith not trying to get too fancy here, even though she's gotten to strike 2.
Just trying to find a way to close out that inning and bring that top of the order back up. Keep this within 2 runs because you know your offense can certainly handle that. They've done it in past innings.
Linkavich has been early a few times, and Smith has been in on her hands often as well.
And I think that's why she threw that off-speed pitch on the 2-2 count, because she was trying to get her to be out in front of it a little bit. So if you're Smith, you're going to look to throw this ball on that outside part of the plate, see if you can get Linkavich to chase. I don't know how confident Smith feels in her off-speed, but I would think about that here as well.
And we will try it again.
She keeps going to that inside part of the plate, pounding that, and getting Linkavich to foul it off. So I can see the strategy there as well. I would try something here again on the outside to see if she would chase. But again, it also comes down to the confidence as a pitcher that you have to locate it where you want on that corner.
Did she check? No, strike 3. Went with the heater, it looked like. Big punch out to end the 6th.
I think that one just had a little bit extra something on it. Smith getting the big out of Linkavich to keep this game within 2. Ohio State will try to battle it back in the top of the 7th.
See if Caitlin Farley has that approach and takes ball 1. Rutgers does have a new first baseman here, Lauren Punk, entering for defense in place of L.A. Matthews. Just a walk to Caitlin Farley's name in 3 trips in this game, where Matty Boyd is trying to go the distance. Deliver Rutgers a Big Ten opening series win. Loop to second, Lawson plays it on a hop to first. Safe! Dropped the ball. It was bang bang regardless, and Ohio State will bring the tying run to plate in the 7th.
This is a tricky play. You see it, it's kind of dead off the bat. Another off-speed pitch from Matty Boyd. Lawson tries to charge it, thinking about diving, releases it quick, but Punk just can't hold on to it over at first.
That's a bang-bang play, even if Punk gloves that. And now here is Taylor Heckman, who's reached base 6 times this series and checks the first one foul.
If you're Ohio State too, you're down by 2 runs instead of 1. I don't think you're looking to bunt here because that's going to waste an out. You still have to be aware if you're the corners for Rutgers. You don't want to give away anything. But again, I think offensively Ohio State is looking for the hit here, not necessarily the sack.
Popped up, curling into foul territory. Linkavich under it. 1 gone.
I have to say, Dom, I was a little scared for a second. I thought Kylie Sand might come over and take that from Peyton Linkavich, but she holds on and gets the first out of the inning for the Scarlet Knights.
And maybe the sign of a long-held relationship. Those two have played alongside each other in those spots now for 3 seasons as everyday starters for Rutgers. Jazzy Burns, the next at the plate for Ohio State. Swings at it to center field. No, Sand steals it. What a play by Kylie Sand. The speed and the glove on full display.
The speed, the glove, and it's the angle that she takes to this ball, Dom. She does a really nice drop step over her left side, gets right to that, the reach at the very end. That is a huge out for Rutgers.
You've talked about how Rutgers' defense has struggled this season, and even in this series, it's had its bad moments, but it has truly stolen some outs for its pitchers. One out away. Here is Destiny Nori. She has homered in this series. We told you it was the 3-run blast that at one point gave Ohio State a lead in the middle game, but now she's behind 0-1.
And you know, when you have a big play like that from your defense as a pitcher, that just amps you up a little bit more. Matty Boyd comes back with a first pitch strike saying, look, I got your back as well.
That missed low and away. Matty Boyd has thrown something like 140 pitches today between the end of game 2 that we continued earlier this afternoon and now 121 in this game. Foul tipped into Wingert's mitt, 1-2.
Really good cut there, but Matty Boyd utilizing that rise ball. It's going just above the Buckeyes' bats.
Boyd in search of one more. Fouled off.
This has been the tale of Ohio State all weekend as well, those foul balls and just the resiliency I've been so impressed with. Every time they're down, they're fighting back and chipping away, whether it's by scoring runs or by having long at-bats.
Boyd has struck out Nori 3 times today and missed at eye level.
I like that pitch, trying to climb the ladder a little bit more than the last one, but a really good job by Nori to lay off, get the count to 2-2.
If Nori can get on, Cami Kortokrax is on deck. Here comes the 2-2. Inside corner, it's strike 3, and the series is over. The Scarlet Knights have taken 2 of 3 from Ohio State to begin Big Ten play.
The story of Matty Boyd all weekend has been how good the off-speed is, but she ends this game on the inside part of the plate with some heat. She was fantastic in the circle for the Scarlet Knights, and they take 2 of 3 from Ohio State. What a hard-fought battle between these two teams.